Yeah, baby. Welcome to the David Toddcast. Steelers win 27-14 and go to 10-3 with a 2-game lead in the AFC North with 4 games left. How you like it now? Yeah, I didn't have the victory cigar last week. I got some really vicious comments about that, but we got it out. It was a balmy 50 degrees today. I'm just back from the beach here in Pittsburgh. As the Steelers get a win in a game where, let's be honest, they didn't play that well. That's the takeaway from this game. And man, thank God most of you aren't on X or social media and listen to the moaning and griping during this game. But, you look at the final score and you go Steelers 27-14, comfortable win over the Browns. Didn't feel that comfortable. If you watched it, didn't feel that comfortable in the first half, as the Steelers moved the ball in their opening drive as they got the initial possession of the game. But, an unforced and mental error by Van Jefferson on an illegal formation and end up getting stuffed deep in the Browns' territory inside the 5, and they have to settle for a field goal. Next thing you know, they're down 7-3. And it didn't feel comfortable the last 30 minutes watching all that crap where they're running the ball into a box of 10, not an 8-man box, a 10-man box, as they're trying to run out the clock. The Browns are using their timeouts. Cordero Patterson fumbles. All sorts of stuff that, gives you a little agita, a little something when it's all said and done and we sit here with the victory cigar. It was a comfortable win. Now, not every minute of it is comfortable, and I got to tell you, if you on the clock time, the last 30 minutes of that in lifetime, my God, that's painful football watching. But look, here we are, and the Steelers are in a fantastic spot. 13 weeks into the NFL season, there's 13 weeks, 10-3, with 4 games to go, and a bear of a schedule down the stretch, but really commanding position for the AFC North and certainly in contention with a tough game for the Bills today. They're playing the Rams. They're behind early in this one. And the Chiefs tonight against the Chargers, who are playing some good football. So, who knows? The Steelers' schedule is incredibly tough. I don't expect them to be the 1 seed, but there certainly looks like now they're going to be one of the top 3 seeds and playoff bound. You can book them. They're in the playoffs. Let's get to this one. Russ is the man. I had some guy bitching at me early in the game. Your boy Russ, he was having a rough go, a little bit of it early, really saying it was my fault. Okay, one, I'll take all the credit. I would take all the credit for Russ playing well. I would take all the credit for Tomlin's decision to go from Justin Fields to Russ. I've been in Russ's corner from the get-go, not because I think Fields is bad, but it's because Russ is better. And we talked about last week all the things Russ did. We talked about him getting into the right play, taking the Bengals secondary apart in that game. Different game this week. The Browns' pass rush was excellent. Steelers' offensive line and pass pro was not very good today. But Russ made plays when he had to. 2 of 3 in the red zone, 2 touchdown passes, 15 of 26 for $158, right? It's not a big thing on the stat sheet. 2 TDs, no INTs, and a passer rating over 100 game for the 5th time in 7 games. Russ doing and saying all the right things. I mean, I don't want to be a broken record, but the Steelers are in a position that they're in for the first time since vintage Ben, since the Ben, Le'Veon, AB days, where they can hit for explosive plays, they can put up 30 points, and they can compete with the better offenses in the NFL. It is a different world for this Steelers team than any team we've talked about over the past 6 years. Okay? This is a different animal. And, of course, they did this all without George Pickens. And, for all the kind of negative things around Pickens, and there are plenty of kind of off the field or even on the field issues about kind of maturity and discipline and things like that, George Pickens is a difference maker, and he's a difference maker not only for the Steelers offensively, but obviously how the other team attacks the Steelers offense and what they do defensively. You can play your safeties differently. You can play guys down in the box differently, certainly when you don't have that kind of weapon in Pickens. But Russ completed passes to 10 different guys last week, 9 different guys this week, 12 different guys in the 2 weeks combined. And you saw, Scotty Miller step up. Scotty Miller's the 5th guy on the depth chart, 6th guy on the depth chart in this receiving core. He's a different guy. Ben Skowronek is going to see the field because he's a good blocker. He has a role to play. Scotty Miller, he won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady. Scotty Miller can play. He's 27. He's quick. He knows what to do. He's a smart guy. He's not the most athletically gifted guy. And when you have guys like that, like Ben Skowronek, not the most athletically gifted, but 6'5", physical, great on special teams, they know you're going to get 100% out of those guys every play they're on the field. Scotty Miller did a great job on the sideline making that little catch and keeping his feet in bounds. That was a big play late in the game. 3 catches, 38 yards, blah, blah, blah. Look, the offense, this was an interesting game because this is the offense not playing particularly well. I was a little surprised, and again, we sit and we talk about when you're doing a post-game show, when you're doing a recap, you're obviously talking about events of the game. And I think it's frustrating to watch people, and I try not to do this, sit on every play and say that's a good play call, a bad play call. You got to look at things in their totality. And one of the things, look, we haven't spoken about this, but when you come out with your scripted plays, or when you come out at the beginning of a game and you run different personnel groups and you run different types of plays, this is a feeling out process of the defense. I'm sure if you follow football long enough, you know this, but Bill Belichick is one of the great guys talking about this. Kyle Shanahan, about trying to see, Bill Walsh is really the guy, I think, who probably initially expressed this incredibly well. You are trying to see what the defense is trying to do. And that gives you your kind of thought process and playbook for how you're going to attack them over the course of the game. If we go big, if we go 13 personnel with 3 tight ends, what kind of look are they going to show us? If we go 3 wides, what are they going to show us? If we go 12 personnel, with trips on one side or whatever we may do, how is the defense going to react to that look? And then as the game goes on, you have a sense of that and how you can exploit that type of defense. The complaining about Arthur Smith, it's nonsense. If you heard Russ in the postgame, I thought he was great. He talked about finding that exact pass for Pat Freiermuth up the seam for the Steelers' 3rd touchdown, which kind of put the game away. And that's something they worked on. Holy cow. The play on the Van Jefferson, the short touchdown, talk about the offense, about a play design. Oh my God, that might be the best play design we've seen from the Steelers in a short yardage situation, as in not short on the, just kind of an and goal situation. They schemed guys open massively. We haven't seen that all season long. So in fact, on that play, Russ broke loose to the right. He had a couple different options. Van Jefferson is so wide open. Russ, as you watch, he kind of hurries and pushes the throw almost into the ground. Jefferson had to go down to catch it, but he didn't have anybody within 3 yards of him. Down on a goal line situation. You never get situations like that. So that's the kudos stuff to Arthur Smith and the offense. The other point is, look, this wasn't the offensive line's best game. We did see they were very good running the ball straight ahead. And I was a little surprised. Last week might be the first time all season we've really seen kind of the toss sweep or the pitch move that the Steelers like to run kind of work effectively against the Bengals, and they're not very good defense. It did not work effectively at all in this game, except for at the very end of the game when Najee got the last 3rd down on a 3rd and 5 where he burst through to put the finishing touches on it. But I didn't think the offensive line was great today. They weren't great in pass pro. The Steelers did a better job of controlling Myles Garrett. I just didn't think the offensive line was outstanding in pass protection. Felt like Russ, the pocket was collapsing, and Russ felt a lot of pressure almost, from the get-go. But to their credit, I think it was 4 sacks for 27 yards, if I remember correctly, against the Browns last week. It was 1 sack for 11 yards, and in the very last, next to last series of the game, in this one, before the play where they punted and the Browns handed it right back to the Steelers. So just 1 sack. So a better job by Dan Moore, a better offensive concept by the Steelers and Arthur Smith in their pass protection to focus on Myles Garrett. But still, I didn't think it was the best performance, particularly in the passing side from the offensive line. The defense. I continue to feel the same way about this Steelers defense in that they're good, but damn, Jameis didn't have a good game today, and Jameis missed open guys, but this is Jameis being Jameis. This is who Jameis Winston is. I mean, let me tell you something, baby. This is Jameis Winston, baby. This is ride or die. This is Jameis Winston. He is a gunslinger. That's the thing. Jameis is going to go out there, and we're going for broke here, boys. Let's go. Let's go see what happens. And Jameis today, that throw he made, that touchdown pass he made to Jerry Jeudy in the Browns' second drive after the Steelers defense came out and just stuffed them on the first 3 plays. How about that? T.J. Watt tackle for loss. Queen coming up in the middle of the second play, right in his face, right in his kitchen where he had to kind of throw it into the ground. And then Alex Highsmith with the sack on third down. You can't come out and look better than the Steelers defense did. And then it'd be difficult to imagine that they could have been worse on the next drive when the Browns went right down the field. And Jameis is a fun guy to watch. And he's a fun guy to root for, to be honest, when he's not playing your team. He was unbelievable on Monday night against Denver. But, he threw two INTs and 2 were pick sixes. So, you live and die with Jameis. It's the old let Brett be Brett, because he may kill you, but he may kill his team too. Well, Jameis is that guy, and, he did some good things, but really the best thing he did was that on the run to the left, right at the line of scrimmage, 35-yard touchdown pass to Jerry Jeudy. And from there, Browns offense, they moved the ball a little bit. They got that late touchdown where, that 7 million play drive where they kept converting fourth downs and the Steelers couldn't get off the field to kind of put a little bit of drama into the fourth quarter to make it 27-14. But he didn't have a great game. Jameis didn't have a great game. And the Browns, offensively, they were mediocre. They're not a terrible football team. And you wonder, had Winston been the quarterback all season, rather than what 3-10, whether they might be 6-7 right now. Certainly a possibility. But how about 3-10 with wins over the Steelers and the Ravens? It's been an interesting season for them. And look, they didn't fold up shop, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win a couple games down the stretch here. You know what I will be surprised? I will be just surprised if Hopkins is their kicker next week. In fact, I will be surprised if Dustin Hopkins is on their roster tomorrow or certainly Tuesday at 4 p.m. because he's getting cut. Let me throw something out to you. Do you think if at the end of the third quarter, the 2 kickers had been on different teams for the first 3 quarters of the game, what the game might look like? It would have been 13-13. Hopkins missed 2, NFL, they're not chip shots, but two 90, 85% chance field goals. It was a huge difference in the game. Special teams. The Browns punter's fantastic. The guy's hitting absolute bombs. Bojo Quez, whatever it is, Corey. I pride myself in being able to pronounce every one of these. Can't even speak when I'm trying to say pronounce every one of these guys' names, but Bojorquez, which I butchered, was excellent today. But you know who was excellent also? Corliss Waitman. Averaged 52.3 with a long of 61 inside the 20, and the one at the end of the game where Tony tries to fair catch and he just hands it to Ben Skowronek. Good hustle by Ben Skowronek. That's why he's on the roster. Guys like that, that's a play. Caught a 20-yard pass up the seam last week. Makes a play on punt coverage this way. That's good stuff. Waitman, great. Steelers special teams, excellent again today, except for the one terrible kickoff return to open the second half when both Peyton Wilson and Ben Skowronek missed tackles. They're going to get lit up in the film room for that. But special teams, excellent. You just wonder, and the Browns misses a short field goal, misses another field goal. That game, I think the Steelers will still win the game, and Steelers, they certainly play the game differently in the fourth quarter offensively. They don't try to just run out the clock for freaking 11 minutes. But Steelers special team, Boz is God. Chris Bosgod. I mean, the dude, all pro. He's setting records for number of field goals through 34 games. I think he's one off the record. He never misses. I think in Heinz Field, he's 18 and 19, and opposing kickers are something like 8 for 14 so far this year. That's crazy. Heinz Field isn't the difficult place to kick in it was for the first 15 years because they've covered that open end of the end zone now with seats, so you don't get the swirling winds. And by the way, today, as we talked about, it was a beautiful day in the Berg. 50 degrees, nothing to worry about. No swirling winds, no nothing. I've been chomping on a cigar so much I'm getting leaf every time I put it in my mouth. So, all right, that brings us to the defense. 9 straight games with multiple turnovers. 9 straight games. I don't know what the NFL record is, but man, that is quite a stat. And play of the game? Think for a second. What was the play of the game? Quiz. Pop quiz. Keanu Benton's interception. Unquestionably the play of the game. 13-7, open the second half. Browns get the long kickoff return. Here they go. Steelers blitz. I do like that they're blitzing a bit more. And you know who came in on this one? Beanie. Didn't have a wonderful game. Beanie comes in. He's jumping through the moon like this. So Jameis has to pull it back and recock. And he throws it up there. Keanu Benton. What is he? 6'3", 300 something. He's not Casey Hampton. But the athleticism of, look, these guys are, he's 23 years old. These guys are big, great athletes, right? And he just showed up there making that play, making that interception. Steelers go down and score. Steelers score on the next possession. Effectively ball game at 27-20. But, 27-7. That was the play of the game for me. But I want to say, for the Steelers to win in the playoffs, we talk about keys to the game. Why do teams win games? Blah, blah, blah. They win games because they win the turnover battle. And, that happened once this year. The Steelers won the turnover battle and didn't win the game. 9 straight games with 2 turnovers. When your quarterbacks aren't turning the ball over, you're going to win a lot of games. That's why they're 10-3. 10-3, baby. And that interception, that turnover was the play of the game. I didn't think the Steelers' defense was dominant, but I will tell you, again, what's going to win for them in the playoffs? Yeah, the turnover battle, that's going to win. You know what else? Getting pressure on the quarterback. Because I think for the Steelers, it's like you say, what is the most important thing the Steelers can do to win in the playoffs? That might be it. That might be more than anything they do offensively. It's getting pressure on the opposing quarterback. One, because A, that does create turnovers, so that's a big thing. And B, I don't think the Steelers secondary can cover guys. Here's your other thought. Here's your other not great thought about the Steelers and their team is I'm not comfortable with them covering receivers. Joey Porter, you saw the pass. Elijah Moore goes, look, guys in the NFL, I said this on Twitter during the week. Playing cornerback is the biggest bitch there is in the NFL. I mean, you get somebody tells you to go cover a guy man on man. I don't care if it's Justin Jefferson, George Pickens, or Scotty Miller. It is a tough thing to do. And that's why guys are handsy and do the things they do. And you're doing this, and then the ball's coming. You got to turn your head around. It's a bear of a job. Okay, so I don't want to discredit how difficult the task is or how good the other guys are. Because I told you last week, Higgins and Chase, they're uncoverable. Elijah Moore's kind of he's a guy. In the NFL, he's just a guy. But Jerry Jeudy's a little bit more than a guy, and he had a huge game on Monday. And they scored that 35-yard touchdown pass. I want to say, if you follow me on Twitter X at David M. Todd, look at the dots, right? Seth Walter puts up made a post of the dots, right? And it's just your Lego thing or your what is that old football game, Nintendo football? No, what was that called? The one that vibrated and blah blah. Can you believe when we were kids? We played Pong. Okay, our video game was Pong. Dong. Dong. Try to spin it a little bit. It's dong. This is when we're 9. This is what we're doing. Kids today are playing shoot-up games that make you look like you're actually on the battlefield or flying drones or, I don't know. We're playing Pong. Ding. Ding. Maybe we're less developed mentally. I don't even know what we're talking about. Jerry Jeudy. Oh, so Seth Walter puts up this, and it's a dot matrix of the play on social media, the touchdown pass where Winston running to his left, credit him, right on the 35-yard line. I thought when he threw it, he was actually across the line of scrimmage, but he wasn't. But he throws it, and you look at the damn play, Minka's running in front of him. There's only one wide receiver on the right side of the field. One. Dante Jackson, who's had a decent season. But on this play, there's nobody back there in his third of the field, and the only receiver is Judy running a post, kind of running with Winston because he's scrambling left. Jackson's late getting over. I don't know what the hell Minka's doing. There's nobody in front of him where he's got to step up and worry about the receiver. So he knows, I think he knows, that Judy's running 2 steps behind him. So Jameis drops in a 35-yard pass over Minka in front of Dante Jackson. And it just convinces me that the Steelers defense, the secondary, isn't good enough. And I know, there's this ongoing debate. Is Minka having a good season? Is he having a bad season? Mike always says, or we see Terrell Austin say, look, they don't attack that part of the field because Minka's there. Look, there's some truth to that. But man, Deshaun Elliott's playing his ass off. My man Rick Fish on Twitter is, you can see what he says about this. It's not clear to me. I mean, Deshaun Elliott, I don't care what you tell me. Deshaun Elliott's having a much better season than Minka Fitzpatrick. Now, as I said about corners last week, you can't make plays if they don't throw the ball your way. And some of the best corners in the NFL, they don't throw against them. They go to attack the other guy so they don't get a chance to make plays. That means you have, you've kind of staked out your piece of turf or your job. And, that means the life is much harder for the offense if you were going to take away that part of the field. And that was the argument, that that Minka takes away the middle of the field, particularly the deep middle of the field. Well, that was deep middle, and I haven't seen that much of taking away the middle of the field. Now, I've seen Deshaun Elliott down in the box. I think he led the team today, 13 tackles, 9 unassisted. Some of those are obviously on pass plays. But Deshaun Elliott's playing great. The rest of the guys in the Steelers secondary, Minka, Joey Porter, Dante Jackson, Dante Jackson, pretty good. The 2 new guys, pretty good. Joey, again, an idiotic, being an idiot penalty, 15 yards. Minka, I don't know. I've been joking that he was saving it for the playoffs, saving the splash plays for the playoffs. Maybe he is. I thought this would be the game with Jameis taking shots downfield, and then boom, first time down, second drive, first time they throw the ball downfield, it's right over Minka's head for a touchdown. So I think the criticism, I think the skepticism is legit, okay? We can debate Minka's play. I'm not breaking down every damn thing. I'm not sitting in the film room with the DBs, the defensive backs coach. I'm sure Minka's presence is felt, and I still think Minka's a good football player. Minka's not having a wonderful season statistically, and he's not having a wonderful season from the eye test, okay? But it's hard to know on a weekly basis what the other offensive coordinators are doing on a weekly basis in terms of game planning away from Minka. Are they doing it? Yeah, probably a little bit. But I'd like to see some more plays because everybody knew Minka was good, the past 3 years too, and he was making plays. So I think that's a credible thing. TJ, how about the opening play of the game, a 4 or 5 yard tackle for loss? After that, not so much. He hobbled off the field with the calf or a knee thing, but he came back in the game, so it didn't seem to be a big deal. The Steelers did have some injuries. Larry O out. Mon Adams should be back this week. That'll be big. Steelers were not able to stop the run early in the game, particularly between the tackles. So I didn't think the defensive line was fantastic in that respect. They missed a bunch of tackles. I'd be remiss if I didn't point out Landon Roberts with 2 smoking big plays. The one is on my Twitter feed where he comes through on a run to the Browns left, to Steelers right, and he just blows up an NFL guard like it was a video game. I mean, just came. I asked the guy I was watching with, I said, did you see that? He said, I didn't see it, but I heard it. And then legitimately, if you're watching on television, you just boom, and the guard goes flying backwards like he's like he's a rag doll. And I think Peyton Wilson made the tackle. On the second play, it was Roberts right at the end of the game on a 4th and 1. He goes shooting through on a 4 yard loss. I mean, that's if you're the offense, you're embarrassed by stuff like that. So a couple big plays by Landon Roberts, nice pick by Pierre. Again, the Steelers defense, how critical can you be when you give up 14 points to an NFL team? The most important thing. That was the, defining thing last week, 38-31 by the defense because they got the pick 6. But 30 plus points, that's not what you want out of your defense. But today, I didn't think they played great. Just like I didn't think the O-line played great. Like I didn't think the offense played great. But you know what? The offense put up 27 points. The defense put up 14. They won comfortably. And that's the freaking mark that, we walk away from these games. People are like, blah, 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 blah. They won a game by 13 points. The Eagles went down to the last play against Carolina. Maybe Bryce Young actually doesn't suck. In fact, Bryce Young's been good the last 5 weeks since he got reinserted as a starter. So maybe there's some hope in Carolina. The Lions come down to the last play against the Packers at home. The Packers are a good team. They're a better team than the Browns. But the point is, teams play close games in the NFL. The Steelers were up 27-7 in the fourth quarter without playing a particularly great game. They won comfortably to a team they lost 2 weeks ago. This is something to sit back, light the cigar, put the shades on, and enjoy the victory, because the next 3 weeks are going to be tough. And honest to God, it would not shock me if the Steelers go from 10-3 to 10-6. They're going to be. I'm guessing. Let's guess, right? Line on Sunday. This will be one where I don't think Vegas is going to feel comfortable. I bet they make the Eagles a 4.5 point favorite, and then that line could move. 5 is when Vegas makes a line of 5. That means they don't know whether it's 3 or 7. They want to see kind of where the public goes. 5 means Vegas doesn't know. I think the Eagles will be 4, 4.5, maybe. We'll see if 5, because they don't want to make them. They're not going to make them 6. 4.5, 5 point favorites in this game. The Steelers are going to go to Baltimore. They're going to be underdogs in that game. The Steelers are going to host Kansas City. Depending on how these next 2 weeks go, that game probably be closer to pick 'em when the Steelers play at home. All right, I think that covers most of what I got. How about some questions on YouTube? Comments are good for me. Even if you just say, hey, man, I think you're the best. This is the greatest podcast, Steelers podcast that's ever been made. Things like that are helpful. That helps the algorithm. You can say you like my haircut. Say you like the hat. Say you like the shades and the cigar. I say I got some grief. I didn't have the victory chomper. There's not going to be anything left of the victory chomper if I keep chomping it. I didn't have the victory chomper after the Bengals game. So it's back. I'm back. The Steelers are back. They're 10-3. It's going to be a fun one against the Eagles next week. Hopefully healthy. Going to have George back. Going to have Mon Adams back. Might not have Larry O. Might have some other bumps and bruises. But if I told you coming into mid-December here, the Steelers are where they are with a 2-game lead on the AFC North and 10-3, and its life is good. And Russ is cooking, and we're cooking. So thanks again for being with me on the David Toddcast. Back at you sometime in the future.